Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Bhagisha Mishra. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also turn on the bell icon so you'll be the first to get notified whenever a video goes live at my channel. So in this video, I am going to do a zonal review of the North Zone as well as the Northeast Zone finalists who have been shortlisted for the further rounds. So in my previous video, I discussed my favorites from the South Zone and the East Zone, and in the coming video, I shall be talking about the West Zone as well as the Union Territory finalist. So without further ado, let's dive in and let's know who is it who's ruling my mind from these respective zones. So let's get started. Starting with Northeast, let's start with Tripura. I think Rithika Mazumdar is the one candidate who is quite decent in her stage presence and also in her communication skills. She walks well, she talks well, but she needs to bring herself in a more spontaneous and defined version. So if she works upon that, I think she has a long way to go. Next up, we have Swathi Chaudhary, who is presently situated in Bangalore but is representing Tripura. She's a trained Kathak dancer and I really love her introduction video. She exudes confidence in her introduction. She walks very well as well, but she requires a little bit of toning and then she's good to go. Coming to Chayanika Devnath, wow, this is what I was looking for in this particular state. She exudes so much of confidence in her introduction video as well as her walk is great as well. She is already a regional established actress and I think she has what it takes to go ahead in the competition. Overall, she has a great candidature. She speaks very well. She started her introduction with her regional language. That was something which really attracted me. So I'm looking forward to her in the competition and my verdict from Tripura is Chayanika. Now starting with Nagaland, Krina Jitsu is somebody whom I'm looking forward to in Femina Miss India Nagaland. I went through her introduction and audition videos and I must say that I was really impressed with her beautiful smile, great stage presence, she walks very well and she's very confident. She has a vision for beauty with a purpose in the coming days and that is which really impresses me. I love her beautiful smile and as I discussed in my previous video where I talked about the Campus Princess finalist, I must say that she stands a very high chance to win her respective state. Talking about Mayani Murray, I think she has a very sweet voice and I found it quite melodious. Coming to Jochobani Tungo, I think she is one of the great finalists which Nagaland has. She is a mass media student and she is highly confident. I must say that I was really impressed with her eloquent words and the way with which she carries herself. That is really impressive. She is not only vivacious and well spoken, but she speaks with confidence which is needed at any beauty pageant to shine. I was really impressed with her high quality video. It was not only the quality of the video which made me impressed, but also how she presented it. She handles herself with maturity and that is what I really love about her. She knows what she's doing in the competition, the way with which she shot her introduction and runway video. I must say that I was really impressed with her careful aura which she kept in mind whenever she was filming her video. Her angle is good, her lighting is good and the way she delivered her message, that is also quite impressive. So my final verdict from Nagaland would be either Krina or Jochubani. Now coming to Assam, let's start with Rajri, who has a great walk, but I think she can bring more spontaneity in her speech. Talking about Trishula, she also has a decent walk, but she needs to bring up more spontaneous features in her speech whenever she's speaking. Really like the speech of Namrata Bora. She's quite spontaneous and she speaks well. Talking about Poonam Das, I was really impressed and amazed by this lovely lady. She walks very well, she talks very well, she has that matured and somber facial expressions which is what really impresses me. Talking about Amrita, she is a great speaker but I think she still needs to work upon her runway skills. So my final verdict for Assam would either be Poonam or Namrata. Now let's start with Sikkim. Let's start with Priyanka, who has a very sweet voice. She speaks very well and has a decent walk. Coming to Pema Bhutia, she has a very sweet voice and one would definitely want to listen her more and more. Talking about Rajeshwari Chakrabarti, she has a beautiful smile, a lovely facial feature and she knows how to walk with sheer confidence on runway. I'm really looking forward to her as she has also won Sansak Mega Miss Northeast and that's why my expectations are really high from her. Talking about Rithika Chetri, she is quite confident and she has a good walk. She has a sweet smile as well. And now let's come to Rudrani Bahurupi. I think she's one of the most amazing candidates which Sikkim has. She walks very well, she projects her facial features very well on the camera. She knows how to talk with maturity at such young age. She's certainly somebody to whom I am looking forward to in the competition because I know that she has a vision to go ahead in the competition. So my final verdict for Sikkim would either be Rudrani or Rajeshwari. Now coming to Arunachal Pradesh, let's start with the chandler punggong. I think she slayed on the runway. What confidence she has. She speaks very well and she's a very confident speaker. I really enjoyed watching her introduction video that was beautifully shot, and she makes sure that she's giving her best in her introduction. Now coming to Jonior Jeannie, she's a surgeon by profession. She speaks very well and she walks decently as well. A little bit of polishing and then she's good to go. Bonnie Adam is another lovely candidate to look forward to. Now talking about topmen, she has a beautiful runway skill. I really enjoyed watching her twirl and turn. So my final verdict for Arunachal Pradesh would be Dichenla, and if not her, I see Jonior winning the crown. And now let's talk about Mizoram. I was really surprised that Mizoram had only 2 finalists and I was really impressed with both of them. I think Selena is a decent speaker. She has a decent stage presence as well. I really see her doing good in future. But talking about muan sangi varte, I think she has a beautiful walk, lovely speaking skills, and I completely love her overall personality and aura. So I see her winning the title of Miss Mizoram. Starting with Meghalaya, let's talk about Gargi Nandi. I think she is a beautiful speaker. She speaks very well. And certainly it is quite apparent because she's a mass media student. But now talking about her walk, I think a lot of work still needs to be done in that department. So if she works on that, I think she can go ahead. Talking about Tanvi Marak, she has a beautiful voice. I really like her speech delivery and how she conducts her articulation throughout her introduction video, but she still needs to work upon her walk. And she has a vision for her Beauty with a Purpose project, which is a very positive sign. And if she handles her walk clearly, I think she can go a long way in the competition. Talking about Shano Chelsea, I think she walked very well. She has a good command over her speech. The only thing which I found distracting was her folded hands. So whenever you're folding your hands, it kind of distracts the audience, because if you observe the body language and psychologically speaking, whenever somebody is folding their hands, it might give an impression that the other person is trying to set a boundary and trying to not reflect the real side of his or her persona. So that was the only thing which distracted me, but other than that, I really enjoyed watching her auditions. Now next we have Anusia Radhika Dev Sarma. As long as her name, I really liked her list of achievements. She is a trained basketball player and she is a political science graduate as well. She talks with utter confidence and I really like her projection both in the runway skills as well as in introduction. I see her doing extremely well. Talking about Akriti Sen, she is a good runway model and she speaks decently enough as well. But if you were to ask my final verdict on Meghalaya, it would either be Akriti or Anusia. Starting with Manipur, let's start with Maria Chanu. She is not a new person to the pageant world. We recently saw her performing very well at Miss Earth pageant where she finished as the runner-up. She has a great runway skill. She knows how to project her beautiful features and amazing qualifications in her introduction video. I really see her winning this title provided she is not given a tough competition by her fellow contestants. Talking about Malvika, I really loved hearing her introduction video. I totally enjoyed it. And now talking about Ocean, she's a great speaker. Really loved watching her runway skills as well. All in all, an amazing candidate. So my final verdict would either be Maria Chanu or Ocean. Now let's talk about the North Zone, but before we proceed to the North Zone, I must say that since Northeast is a part of East Zone as well, I must say that the Northeast Zone is stronger than the East Zone. So I really enjoyed watching all the candidates from Northeast, and now let's dive into the North Zone and let's know who are my favorites from the North Zone of Femina Miss India 2020. Now let's talk about Punjab. Let's start with Kirandeep Chahal, whom I really loved hearing because of her vivacious personality and full of life personality. She's quite photogenic and I really enjoyed listening to her throughout. And now let's talk about the Campus Princess finalist Mahevinayak. She has a beautiful smile, a beautiful face, and she knows how to walk on the stage. Really loved her on the stage. She walks very well, her walk is on point, she's quite photogenic, and I see her doing great in the competition. Talking about Karuna Singh, I think she's a great speaker. She walks very well as well. The only thing which I would like to point out here is that she looks more beautiful in her natural attire, because I really loved her in her natural hair and natural neutral makeup in the talent video. So if she carries the same look, I think she has a long way to go. So my final verdict from Punjab would either be Mehak or Karuna. Now let's talk about Uttarakhand. Let's start with Webavi Sharma, about whom I have already spoken in my previous video when I was talking about the Campus Princess finalist. As I discussed in that video, she is now preparing for the second time to contend for the title of Femina Miss India, and this time I think she's more prepared, she's more confident, she has lost some weight and she looks more ready in the competition. So I expect her to do great in the coming days. And now let's talk about Aishwarya Goyal, whom we have already seen few years back at the pageant. This time as well, she is quite prepared and she walks really well on the runway. She's more prepared, she's more confident, and she speaks like dream. So I am expecting huge from Aishwarya as well. Talking about Diksha Dayani, she's a great speaker and she is having a decent walk as well. So I see her doing good as well. Talking about Harshita Bisht, she performed really well, but I think she rushed a little bit more in the runway video. She walked quite fast in that video. So I think if she works upon that, she may improve in future. Talking about Maitri Chauhan, she has a great walk, she speaks very well, and she has that charm in her overall persona. So my final verdict for Uttarakhand would either be Webavi, Aishwarya or Maitri. So any three of them has the charm and the capability to go ahead in the competition as Uttarakhand at Femina Miss India. Now let's come to Haryana and let's start with Lavanya. I have already spoken a lot about Lavanya in my previous video when I was discussing my favorites for Campus Princess finalists. So in that video, I already discussed a lot about her facial beauty, her overall personality, and how she carries herself on the stage. So all in all, she is a great candidate to look forward to. I am just expecting a more spontaneous personality of her in the coming days, so that when we hear to her, it doesn't look like she's rehearsed it. So that is the only thing which I'm expecting out of her. Other than that, she is an amazing candidate on whom my eyes are glued. Talking about Harnoor, she is a decent speaker and she walks fine as well. Now talking about Manika, I was really impressed with her academic qualifications. She speaks very well, and despite of being quite mature, she looks quite young and supple, which is a great sign. She has that vivaciousness in her personality to stand out in the crowd, but at the same time she has that maturity and poise to compose herself pretty well in the competition. So that is really a good sign which she has in her overall personality. The only thing which I observed while watching her runway video is that she walks very well, but her walk is more like a model. It's not like a beauty queen. So there is a difference between a model walk and the pageant walk. So if I think she works upon those technical aspects, she has the long way to go. Now talking about Savi Rai, she is a great speaker and she is also a trained basketball player. I really liked her overall candidature. Talking about Supriya, she is too soft and sweet. So my final verdict from Haryana would either be Manika or Lavanya, and if not them, then Savi has the fair chance to win Miss Haryana title as well. And now let's start with Madhya Pradesh. I really love this batch because ever since I have started following Femina Miss India, I have not really seen a very strong batch coming out from Madhya Pradesh. This batch seems to be equally competitive and I really liked all the girls who have been shortlisted in this batch. Starting with Anudhi, she speaks very well, really like the vivaciousness in her speech. She has that bubbly aura which can impress anybody easily. But when we are looking at her walk, I think she still needs to work upon that. Talking about Pranshu Singh Yadav, she is a great speaker and she speaks very confidently. She has a beautiful face. She looks very pretty in motion. But when we talk about her walk, I think she still needs to work in that department. Talking about Alisha Khan, she speaks well, she talks very well, she walks very well. Overall a great candidate, but I expect to give her more spontaneous feature in the competition. Talking about Nimisha Dhote, really loved her. She is a Campus Princess finalist as well. She walks very well, she talks amazingly smart. But when we talk about her body language, again, as I pointed out few minutes back, I observed the folded hands, which was a little bit distracting. So I think these things can be worked upon in future, but overall she's a lovely candidate. Talking about Rudrapriya, she's stunning, but she needs a little bit of polishing. Now my final verdict for Madhya Pradesh is a little bit difficult one, because as I said, this is an amazing batch, but still if I have to pick any one or any two, it will either be Nimisha or Pranshu. So either of them will make a great choice for Madhya Pradesh at Femina Miss India 2020. And now let's talk about the capital city, Delhi. Shaila is the one candidate who really impressed me with her facial features. I really love watching her runway video and her introduction video as well. But I would really like to see her presenting in a more spontaneous manner. Now talking about the Campus Princess finalist Niharika Singh, I think she's one of the strongest candidates in the batch. It's not about the facial beauty or the runway skills, but her overall personality. She talks as if she knows she has a vision to take ahead in the competition. And when we are talking about the large scale pageants like Femina Miss India or Miss World, it's very important that you have a vision to carry forward in the competition. I see her doing extremely well in the competition. She speaks very well and she convinces me with her speech. That is one thing which makes me like her really far. So Niharika has that it factor which will help her in longer run. And now talking about Savvy, it was a little bit confusing for me to see her getting shortlisted from two states, both from Haryana as well as from Delhi. So this is a little bit confusing, but as I said, she has the chance to win Haryana. Talking about Shivi, she has a beautiful smile. I really love hearing her and she has a decent walk as well. Now Vriddhi Jain also has a charming face, but if I were to give my final verdict for Delhi, it would either be Niharika or Jasmine Lazarus, about whom we have already talked about in last few months. Jasmine walks like she owns the runway. She talks like she knows how confident she is. She's too hard to ignore. So either Jasmine or Niharika would make a great choice for Delhi for Femina Miss India 2020. Now let's talk about Jammu and Kashmir. Let's start with Poonam, who has a beautiful face. She has a beautiful smile and she talks really well. One would definitely want to hear more and more about her. Talking about Rithika Rana, who is a Campus Princess finalist, she has a great walk, she speaks quite confidently, and I definitely see her winning Jammu and Kashmir title. So my final verdict from Jammu and Kashmir would be Rithika. Now let's talk about Uttar Pradesh. I think there are two prominent candidates on whom everybody's eyes are glued, and we all know that it's the Campus Princess finalist Ishika and the other one is Kanika. So we have already seen Kanika performing on the TV screens. She has been part of many shows and we have already seen her talking really well. She talks well, she has a great styling as expected. But when we talk about pageants, I think it's the girls like Ishika who stand fair chance to go ahead in the competition because she speaks with confidence, she has a vision to carry herself ahead in the competition and she knows how to project herself in pageant. So I think Ishika would make a fair choice for Uttar Pradesh and if not her, Kanika. And now last but not the least, let's talk about Himachal Pradesh and it seems to be a clear win for Nikita Cordillo. Nikita Cordillo reminds me somewhere of Navneet Cordillo, our former Miss World India. She has a beautiful face, the kind of face which any Miss World pageant looks for. So this is her strong quality. She has that soft and young and subtle kind of beauty which is really appreciated at the pageant like Miss World. So apart from Manasa, Nikita Cordillo is also one of the promising candidates on whom my eyes are glued because she has that it factor. She speaks with confidence, she walks like a queen and she has that charm and aura which is needed to shine at beauty pageants. So overall I really love Nikita Cordillo. Talking about another amazing candidate, Suhana Lakka. She's quite young, but she talks with so much of confidence that you will be really impressed to hear her. I really love her. Talking about the Campus Princess finalist, Titiksha Taggar, she has a beautiful walk, she slays on the runway and she knows how to impress the audience with her confidence and charm. Really liked her. Talking about Alex, who is again a young yet very convincing candidate, she has a good walk. So my final verdict from Himachal Pradesh would certainly be Nikita Cordillo or Titiksha Taggar. Any of them will make a great choice for Himachal Pradesh at Miss India 2020. So that was all for today's video. I discussed my favorites from Northeast as well as North. Do let me know in the comment section who are you rooting to see in their respective states as the winner and representing their respective states at Miss India 2020. I'll be very happy to know who are your favorites. Also, if you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, go ahead and follow me at Pageants with Vagisha. I'll be coming up with more reviews on West Zone and Union Territories and also top 31 finalist review as you all have suggested in the comment section. And also 2 or 3 more videos are filmed and are yet to be channel. So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell icon. So I will see you guys with the next video pretty soon. Thank you for watching and I will meet you guys pretty soon with the next one.